The way I paint hair is simple. I paint it in chunks. So how to paint hair. I'm going to paint it in chunks. I'm going to break those large chunks into smaller chunks and so on. Do I paint individual strands? Not really. Not really. Um, it really depends on how I'm feeling. But most of the time, I will paint chunks, and those chunks will work fine. So let's say, what if she had like, not necessarily generic anime hair, but like, what if she was to have this hair right here? I'm gonna make her fringe. I'm gonna actually take this off. I'm gonna take this fringe here. I'm gonna create another fringe. Hopefully her hair isn't in her eye, because that would be horrible to have hair in your one eye. It's already bad enough to have hair in two eyes. Okay, there we go. Her hair is gonna be a little messy. She's a little bit unkempt, but she's a sweetheart. Alright, so now we're gonna just kind of clean up the generic hair, right? And I'm just doing this strand by strand. Like literally I'm making a back and forth motion. So you see that? That's how I paint. That's literally how I paint. Um, Painting hair, or when I paint fur, I'll take the darkest color and I'll make a chunk. Then I'll take another part and do a chunk. Then another part and chunk it. And just back and forth, right? And that's how I paint fur. That's how I paint hair. I'm going to show you this, and I'll have a more detailed tutorial later on how I paint fur. I like doing short strokes because to me it's a bit easier. Oh, gotta be careful with that ear. I'll even have her have like a little strand, a couple strands down here, like little wisps, little wispy strands here, right? And I'm not going to worry too much about the details right now, because I do, excuse me, I do want to have her, her just like the basic blocks. Like what, literally the way I paint is I paint with bigger brushes just to block everything in, blocking things in a little bit at a time. And then I will go in with a smaller brush and add details as needed. Sometimes I admit I get very carried away with details, and that is literally like the bane of my existence. And it sucks to detail something that hasn't even looked right already. That's why when I started painting in earlier, I was like, oh crap, I should probably flip this image so I can have a better idea on how this actually looks. Okay, actually, I'm gonna leave that. Alright, so now we're gonna go back in with those midtones. It's a little bit messy. It's gonna be messy, but that is okay. Oh, and you know another thing I do with hair? Where the heck is the center of her hair? Where the heck is her hair growing from? So I'll take the darkest point or the darkest value in my character's hair, and I'll make a little point. And this point will literally be where the hair is growing from. So this little point right here, or this, or it could even be a part, because girls can have their hair parted, or guys too. Girls and guys can have their hair parted, but I just want a one centered area. This is where the hair will grow from. This is where the direction of the hair will be. And why? Because that's kind of how hair is on people, unless you're black or you have curly hair. I don't necessarily have a one singular point where my hair grows. My hair is super duper curly, super duper kinky, so it just completely just curls. And I'll even show you how I paint my Persona's character, because her hair is actually a little more textured than mine. But yeah, no, my hair is insane. So then what I'll do is I'll take this little area, this dark area, and because it is the growth point of where the hair originates from, this is probably going to be the most shaded part of her hair. or your character's hair, whatever you're doing, you're also going to follow this sun. This sun is going to be pretty much your light source of Jesus. It will be your Jesus light source. It'll show you the light. Why? Because you have one singular, or you might have a dual, or you might have like a light source or three light sources. You have to make sure you follow wherever your light source is coming from. So now I have my most extreme dark. Actually, I might even go a little bit lighter because I don't want it to be that extreme. Oh, that's a little too light. This is my most extreme dark. This is where the shadows, the darkest shadows will lay. Right? We're also going to take these clumps and put them together as well. Most extreme darks here. This is where the magic happens. And actually, I'm going to actually trim her hair just a teeny bit, just a smidge. So I'm going to take this part because I want to create a visual interest, the contrast of height and shortness, or tall and short with her hair. Height and shortness. Smooth Melquea. Alright, so we're gonna kind of edit this out a little bit, and I'll end up probably repainting it, but I'd rather edit this out now because I end up making, when I paint digitally, I end up adding a lot. I end up adding a ton. So we're going to be a little bit careful here because this is also where the light is being shown. So the deepest dark shadows won't necessarily exist here. We're just going to kind of use that as a guide. Right. 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 So now we have a little bit of an idea. And if you ever want to need a break, just look, sorry, English. So just literally zoom out of your painting, zoom out of your picture, look, far away from your picture and just kind of examine it. See what might need work, what needs work. That skin might need work, whatever. But you see how everything looks super smooth right now? That's because it looks better when it's zoomed out. When I post my image, I'll probably post it about this large or this large. Maybe that large. Oh, who knows? Or somewhere in between. And I won't post it this large just because, it can be really messy. But it doesn't matter. I mean, I have this like preconceived notion that because I'm doing digital painting, it has to look perfect. I have to make everything, every strand perfect, and everything, like the golden, gorgeous image that it should be just because it's a digital painting. But that is untrue. It doesn't have to be perfect. I can make things unfinished and make it intentionally unfinished. Why? Because I can. And just because I'm using digital paint doesn't, make it any more pristine or any like higher brow artwork. Sometimes people have this, some people have an idea that digital painting is modern, which I mean it is, but, or it can be, and that traditional painting or traditional art is archaic. And I don't know. Or even better, some people think that, because you can only digital paint and you can't use actual traditional paint, you aren't a real artist. And I'm like, well, no, the same principles still apply. All it is it's just a tool. Just because I'm using Manga Studio, it doesn't make my artwork better. I mean, I used to use GIMP and I was able to level up with that. Same thing with like MS Paint. Just because someone uses like some type of program, it doesn't make them a better artist. So I'm still doing that back and forth motion. I'm still doing that. That is like literally what I do. That's what I say when I paint my character stroke by stroke. This is literally what I mean. I wish I had a stroke counter. Stroke. I wish I had a stroke counter that said like how many times did I paint something and how many strokes per painting did I emulate. And it'd be amazing to see how many, probably thousands or at least hundreds of strokes that I have made just to paint, hair or fur, especially for a furry character. Holy macaroni. Like, furry characters, they have fur all over their bodies, so it's just like there is no letting up. But it's also very, very therapeutic. It feels amazing just to paint hair and fur. So now I'm still laying out the shadows. Now I'm working with a bit of a smaller brush and I'm adding in a bit of details. I'm taking these midtones and now I'm just laying them in. Oh, that is not a midtone. Ah, there we go. Taking the midtones and we're just laying them in there. Just bam, lay them in there. You want to make sure we still keep an eye on what's light, what's dark. Also keep in mind that this is the hair itself, a hair strand. Actually, a hair strand is rather rounded, but the hair is following a rounded form. The hair is following a rounded form. Therefore, light will be on a rounded form. So I will show you when I start doing the highlights how I'm going to shade this, how I'm going to shade and highlight her hair. I think I'm also gonna, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. I just wanted to make sure that I was gonna do everything great. Okay. Still keeping an eye on her little ear. I don't know if her ear is too. I'm gonna keep it just like that. Kind of want to stay a little faithful to the sketch here because I hope Kiki would enjoy seeing their character come to life, or their sketch come to life. So yeah, there we go. This is also going to go behind the shirt. Let me see. Hair front, over lashes, over iris. I can put this all the way down underneath the shirt. Yes. All her hair is good. All her hair is going to be behind her. I think that'll be cute. Alright. Now I feel like I'm taking too long on this hair, so we're going to try and speed this up just a little bit. Oh, this is going to be rather dark. I don't know if I want her hair to be... Nope. I'm going to go ahead and erase all of that. Take eraser, make it bigger. We're going to erase, kind of cut this part. Because I don't want her hair to be too rounded. I want it to be rather flat. I want her... Yeah. About that much. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's a lot of thinking that goes into creating characters, and I'm not even creating this character. I'm just trying to enhance everything that I like about this character. But there's a lot that goes into painting, drawing, designing. All of it requires a lot of thought. Sarah Makes Art originally commented on one of my videos titled "Charging Your Worth," or that's what the thumbnail of the video was. And she said, "I don't think most people realize how much thinking and analyzing can go into making a piece of art. Maybe if they did, they would be willing to pay us for what we're worth." And I 100% agree. I mean, I know a lot of people think that art is, it's just like playing video games, which, I mean, video games can be pretty serious too. But, people think that it's just out of sheer enjoyment and, oh, you like doing that sort of stuff, so why get paid for it? No. No. I mean, if you can see from these live streams, I've been working on this piece for about, I don't know, 3 hours now, 4 hours, 3 hours, maybe four. I haven't sketched this piece. It might have been a quick sketch for Kiki Uma, the person who actually sketched her up, but you know, like everything that we do, sometimes it's for a reason. Sometimes when I draw and I paint, I just completely say, screw it, I'm just gonna go impulsive and figure out what we can do and just make it happen. But a lot of times with certain things, it's a little more than that. It creates you create a lot of it's a lot of thought, it takes a lot of creative energy, a lot of mental energy. That's why when I finish a painting, I need to like not draw for about a week. And for some reason, us creatives, we seem to be a lot more sensitive. um it's funny when I say that, because I say it almost like in a disgusted tone, but I don't mean it that way. I mean, you ever notice a lot of videos that say, oh, uh are you a create like, here's X problem that creative people deal with? Yeah, we tend to be really sensitive people. Um, we get really defensive over our work because we kind of pour our heart and soul into it. It's a weird thing being a creative person. Um, it's a lot of mental energy. It's a lot of mental energy, and sometimes there's a lot of emotional energy depending on what you're going through while you're creating. Um, it can be depending on what your art style, or how you create art, or how you enjoy your own process of making art. You can end up completely enjoying it, or you could end up almost meditating with working with your art. When I'm not streaming and I'm doing artwork, it's almost a meditative process for me, especially when it comes to painting. The drawing and sketching process, that's more of the mental energy, but the actual painting, that is really meditative. Basically, like meditation, you via motion, is basically doing like a repetitive or slow action, or repetitive action while you know whatever you're doing. And because of that, it allows me, for in my personal sense, it allows me to actually almost meditate while drawing. You get lost in the process. You're like, holy crap, what just happened to the time? Like, it's like 10:30 right now, 10:30 p.m. Like, what happened to the time? Like, it becomes insane. All right, so to break really quick, what I'm doing right now is I'm kind of adding a shape to these little bangs and fringes. So like you'll see here, this little bang is kind of coming out. That adds three dimensionality the to the hair. It also kind of emphasizes where that hair is coming from. It's already apparent that it's coming from a lighter source, or it's coming from that center part, but we're just going to completely emphasize it. Like, I'm going to add a little bit of light, just to have that contrast again. There goes that C word, contrast. And we're going to just show off this hair is just popping out. When I also paint, I also like to use directional strokes. If I'm painting something, you paint in the direction. Just like what was his name? Keenan Lafferty? I think his name is Keenan Lafferty. Oh my god, I hope I said his name right. The way he was telling about his digital painting process is that it's or how to draw hair, I think he said. Um just the way that you would pet a cat with the grain of the hair. You wouldn't pet it against it, or else you'd be feeling some claws, just like he said. The same thing with hair, same thing with, clothes in a sense. Clothes is a little bit, my strokes are a little bit varied and weird. But with hair, I want to have directional strokes. I want to point it all down. So I think this hair is messy enough, but I think it works for what I'm doing right now. All right. It shouldn't even be that, to be honest, it shouldn't even be that detailed, simply because I think the details should lie in the light sections of the hair, and the details will fall in the dark sections of the hair. It doesn't have to be that detailed in the dark parts of the hair because it's dark. Who's going to see all those details anyway? You're able to be picky and choosy about how much time you're going to spend on each part of the hair or whatever subject you're painting. By the way, I'm going to have a link below of Melquea Studio. I think it's going to be an Amazon link, but I'll have those all down there for you so you can check out. I'll also have it in my materials section on my website, just so you have an idea of what I use to work, like what I use and what I work with and all that good stuff. Okay, I'm going to trim her hair a little bit again because it's getting a little bit unruly, and we're just going to kind of sculpt it. Right? Yeah. We're going to work with some fun angles too. We're going to exaggerate some angles of her hair. This will be very fun. Yeah, that looks nice. I want to exaggerate some angles. Actually, yeah, let's do it. We're going to do some fun stuff here. So her hair could be really cute, but we're going to make a little, almost like an ahoge. That's what they call it, ahoge? Almost like an ahoge. Just a quick thing for her hair. Cute little ahoge. Alrighty, so now we're going to do the light parts of her hair. This is extreme light, so it doesn't need to be that crazy. We're going to go a little bit. We're going to go right from the dark part. We're going to go a little bit lighter. Now we're going to build up the lightness of her hair. And this is where the true magic shines. Now, because this light is hitting this part of her hair is going to be the lightest part. It's going to be the lightest part of her hair. As we go down here, that light is going to wrap around, but it won't be as bright. Like it won't get hit with as hard of a spotlight. Because we're using this light, we're going to use this to kind of shape her hair. I'm still using these directional strokes. Like, this is like how I paint. This is literally how I paint, just directional strokes. Now we're going to go ahead and make it a little bit darker, and we're going to work on the part of her hair over here, and we're going to also make this a little bit smaller. Now we're working with details. Now we're making fine details. This is where the hair starts to come together. I'm going to climb up the value ladder, add some nice light strokes to her hair. And again, value, now that I just started, this is the second time I've like painted using just straight up values, and I think I'm going to start doing this from now on. I really enjoy it. My only problem though is trying to figure out how to like add and layer colors without going so insane on color, like color and blend modes, but I think that's the way I can do it. Oh wow, look at that. Her hair is looking super shiny. We got to be very careful the farther you go because I don't want it to be too bright. I just want to kind of pick and choose the areas of her hair. I also want to still keep that contrast, oh, C word, of light and dark with her hair. There we go. And it takes a while. It takes a while to build up her hair. It takes a while to build it up, but this, you know, once you're methodical and meticulous about it, it'll get better. It's gonna look like crap at first, but it's gonna feel a lot better once you're done, or once things start coming together. So we're gonna do the same thing, because just because that light's hitting here doesn't mean that light isn't hitting over here. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go down. Oop. gonna go down, long strokes. Yeah. But now you can see she has her hair that way. And just like I said, I break it down into chunks. I break those chunks down into chunks, and then I start painting the strands. We can go even one step further and make it a little bit lighter. And this kind of go ahead, and it kind of gives it a nice sheen to her hair, that anime sheen. I actually remember, funny story, I remember like seeing like my favorite animes. I think it was like Zatch Bell, and like, yeah, like when I was a kid, and their hair would be like this, but then they'd have like this like shine on their hair like this. Oh my gosh, I loved doing that. Even like the old Sonic comics. It I forgot which like volume or which issue, but it was like, what was her name? It was like a romantic like novel with like a romantic cover with like Sonic and the purple echidna. I can't remember. It was a jewel something. She was an echidna, and oh my god, that was like my favorite. It was my favorite. I literally like, that's what made me feel like super awesome. Like I loved like the Sonic comics. I used to play this game called Sonic Mega Collection, and they had like a collection of all of the comic covers and the Archie comics. That was like the Sonic edition, and it was so cool just to flip through them all. And I loved the artwork, especially looking at how the artwork evolved during the time frame that it was going through. It was insane, like, and that is one of the things that inspired me as a kid drawing. Oh, I used to have like that game on for forever, and I would just draw inspiration from it. And it was a time to be alive, I'll tell you that much. Alrighty. There we go. Look at that. Her hair is like super highlighted. Bam, look at that. Super duper shiny. Actually, maybe a little too shiny, but that's okay. We can always dull it down, and it is okay. It's okay to have extreme lights and darks. So now we're going to go into the layer that says hair behind. This is her hair that is behind her everything. We're going to go ahead and take the darkest darks. I'm just going to literally just add strokes here and there. Why? Because this doesn't need to be as detailed, because it's all shadow. It's all underneath. It doesn't need to be super duper detailed. And then we'll even go into edit, tonal correction, brightness contrast. We're going to bump that brightness down a little bit just to like kind of make that hair super dark. And then we're going to just add a little bit of lightness into it just to add those light strands to it. And that's it. Bam. Now her hair is done. I'm gonna edit that little tiny piece. See, now this is the part where I become like really meticulous and like attention to detailing, which I hate about myself sometimes, because it feels like I can never get a piece done if I keep like, nitpicking every teeny tiny little thing. But I just want every piece I make to become the best, or the best that I'm doing, or the best that I have been done. Sorry, that wasn't English either. The best that I have done currently. I'm going to have some pieces of hair kind of fly out here. I might even have like a little bit here. And then you know what? I might even get rid of that little ahoge thingy. Yeah, just a little bit. Or I'm just going to have like really tiny parts of it. Actually, I like it just like that. Alright, so we're going to paint this little area, have a little bit of her hair out. And this is what I love to do with the hair too. I like to add little like miscellaneous flyaway strands. Simply because that will add some visual interest. And it doesn't have to be super perfect. Her hair doesn't have to be super perfect. Would add a little curly bit, but I think that'll be fine. Cool. Yep. Perfect. I'm going to add a little bit more shading down here. Actually, I'll find that extreme dark, and I want to have that extra contrast again of the extreme dark and the extreme light here. And I'm going to take this layer, lock it, and we're just going to completely paint in that darkness here. There we go. We can add some contrast here, some nice darkness to her hair. Alrighty. There we go. I think we're good. I think we are all good. And this is pretty much how I tackle hair. From just a straight flat color or flat value, to blocking in the shading, to following my light source, to making sure that everything kind of pretty much follows the rules of shadows and highlights, to, you know, how to bolster the, how do I say, form? Pretty much bolster the form of whatever you're painting. Literally, your best bet to how to paint hair is to follow follow wherever the hair is going, follow the subject, follow the direction of where the hair is pointing, as well as pay attention to your light source. Where is your light hitting? Why is it hitting there? Or how is it going to affect everything from this side where the light is the strongest all the way to this side where the light is the weakest?